Hello, welcome to Scott's Odyssey. I have returned to the southeast end of Lycoming County and the northeast end of Union County in Pennsylvania to explore some sites I found on the property of State Game Lands 252, better known as the Elvira Bunkers. These sites are those of people whom lived their lives here before the drama of World War II and were ultimately interned in a location that became known for its questionable secrets kept inside concrete igloos. Welcome to the location of the Elvira Bunkers grave sites. See you in a minute. Welcome back. If you've watched my videos before, thank you for your patronage, and I hope you enjoy this story of the Elvira grave sites. If you're new to Scott's Odyssey, welcome aboard, and please take a moment to click subscribe for more of this journey through Odyssey's stories of who we once were. It costs you nothing but a click, and it'll give you continuous adventures in return. Originally incorporated in 1825 as the village of Wisetown, Elvira was a quaint rural area of about 500 residents going about their normal farming lifestyles and quiet country living. Like all growing communities within a commonwealth holding the core value of freedom of religion, long before the rest of the country even formed, Elvira had its mashup of multiple religious diversities, and consequently, the cemeteries and graveyards that went with them. Our first and second cemeteries lie close to each other and currently share the same name of Pine Knot Cemetery. The difference between the two is essentially the age and possibly the religious denominations. This site was once known as the Messiah Evangelical Lutheran Church Cemetery, but was more commonly referred to as the Pine Knot Church Cemetery, and not to be confused with the Christ Lutheran Stone Church Cemetery just less than a mile northeast of here. So this is the newer part of this cemetery. Most of the people here were born in the mid to late 1800s and interned in the early 1900s. Right here we have Edward Kent, 1948, Wagoner Supply Company, 314th Infantry, World War I. Here's a marker for a World War vet. Here's another one. 1917. His is slightly different. There are a significant number of just marker stones. Most of these stones are well-to-do, unlike the older ones that you find in the older cemeteries and graveyards. Let's see what we have further down the line. Here we have a stone. It's not legible anymore, but he's marked with a Grand Army of the Republic, so that was a Civil War vet. I find this one kind of interesting. Dr. Metzger. For whatever reason, humanitarian or self-righteousness, it was that important that doctor was placed on his stone. Let's see if there's a little more information on the back. It's a very pretty stone. J.R. Metzger on the back. What's interesting is, I guess it's designating family plot maybe, because here's J. Ralph Metzger, 1894 to 1989. He was around for quite a long time. And H. Rebecca, wife of Dr. Metzger. Some of the stones, as you find almost all the time anymore, are knocked down, kicked over, broken. I don't understand exactly why people do that. Let's see what other types of stones we have here. So as I was walking along, it's kind of hidden in some brush here, but we have a family marker. And over here, you have another family marker. So we're in a plot marker. And if you look, it looks like a low-lying spot, but the reality is this concrete here was built to house a rather large family plot. The only thing in there is the setting stone. There's no stone above it. That's the one that you would have put the upright into, identifying it. There are no other, yeah, that's another setting stone. But this is a very, very large family plot, and for whatever reason, there are no stones here. Everything's missing. Everything. Another thing that's a little bit on the sad and frightening side to see is we have a cave-in. Their box with their body has completely caved in. And this is Catherine V. Hill from 1906 to 1951. So if you know that particular Hill family, you might want to alert them to the fact that Catherine's site has caved. Not something you see very often. Because of this denominational thing, it's possible that the church that was using this lot was the Pine Knot Church, and later it was picked up by the Messiah Evangelical Lutheran Church, who separated their deceased into a different adjoining lot. But that information is currently lost to us. Aside from the differences in the churches, this site was once part of Washington Township in Lycoming County, and then it was moved over to Brady Township in 1855. And in 1861, it was moved again, at least by boundary lines, into Gregg Township of Union County, and has remained there ever since. As you come down from the main cemetery, come down the road, you hit the actual church foundation, the original church foundation. And then the graveyard everybody misses. There are still some really old trees here that haven't been cut down to allow second growth to come in. Really old ones. 8 and 10 feet around, like this one over here. He's just huge. He looks like he's a good 10 feet around. Even this maple tree here, probably a good 8 feet around. Very big trees. These stones look a lot older. Most of them. Some have been replaced. A lot of them have been knocked down and broken. I could see that right off the bat. Let's see what people said about them. Here we have some more Civil War and some smaller stones, most likely children. That's a rather new looking replacement stone. So maybe there are still family members that are alive coming down and taking care of this place. Lots of infant stones. Let's see if we can get a year off of this, and we'll see. Died April 2nd, 1878. April 1878. I think that may have been a cholera outbreak. Or it could have been a natural death. It's an interesting stone. I don't know what that material is. It's a replacement stone. That's actual metal. It's aluminum. Cast aluminum. More Union soldiers. Another Union soldier. Let's see who we have off in the far corner. I often wonder when I come to these sites and I look and I reach the end if there are stones or markings that are just beyond your sight, which would be anything from African Americans to Native Americans to murderers. Not seeing any here. Somebody came through and did a lot of damage to these stones. Another Civil War. A lot of stones were placed upright again off of their main foundation. That's an interesting shaped stone. One of the things that we have found in these cemeteries in large numbers are those fellas. Hello, little Mr. Garter Snake. Now I'll let you go. Okay, get back to sunning. Get ready for your season. It's kind of ironic. I've only been out at the estate game lands for 3 or 4 hours, but when I actually came to the cemetery, we've got the constant calling of crows all of a sudden in the background. Is there some kind of eerie connection going on? I don't know. Let's continue to look around. So here we have an older stone. That's 1851. They're all in the back of the actual cemetery, making a perfect straight row. We have a whole family plot up here. Really elaborate one. Large posts, poles, rather big family. Jacob King, 1890s. Mostly children, young ones at that. And more damage done to stones for no apparent reason. So I've looked at a good number of Civil War stones. This one's not legible, but I'm trying to figure out what the symbol is here. And it looks kind of like a bow. We have a box in the middle, maybe a ribbon of some sort. Maybe there was something in this as an insert, such as photograph, metal, and we have a bird on the top. I'll have to look that up when I get back to the office. Now on the complete other side of the cemetery, from the back wall, we come back up to the front wall, and again, we run into significantly older stones for this particular area. I was interested in this one. It looks like it has a rose at the top for Clarissa. We have even older stones in the back here, and smaller ones, and some newer ones, and just a pile. I really don't like when we see a pile. That says John C. Corman, and it has a crown with a cross in it. And this one has a queen's crown with a cross in it, but the Mary Ann, wife of John C. John C. Hoffman, is in a shield, which usually represents an actual war vet, but, well, don't know. Mary Ann does not have a veteran flag with her or anything else, but her name is within shield. Although it's not exactly the same as the shields that you see on normal vets. The top dips down on hers instead of going up like this particular veteran right here. Our third cemetery is the Washington Presbyterian Church Cemetery of 1790. Of these 3 cemeteries, this one holds an oddity that I really wanted to experience with all of you. Not to lessen the value of all those whom are interned in these sites, possibly people of great humanitarian and historical significance. This particular site has an interesting family plot that was meant to really keep a remembrance for all time. Here lies the remains of John Seckler and his family, Anna Marie his wife, an unnamed infant son, and their sons John Sedum, Elias, and Henry. Elias Seckler was a member of the 131st Regiment of the Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry during the Civil War. On December 13th of 1862, at the Battle of Fredericksburg, Virginia, Brigadier General Andrew Atkinson Humphreys had a division that was decimating the Confederate Army and had taken the entire area of Fredericksburg, except a lone hill that overlooked the city. That hill was called Mary's Heights. Without getting into a whole Civil War episode, by order of General Ambrose Burnside, the Army of the Potomac, consisting of 3 divisions which were mostly Irish brigades and Irish infantry, one being under Brigadier General Humphreys, were ordered 14 separate times to charge the hill. All charges against the Confederates utterly failed, with over 6,000 casualties on the Union side.
I don't know what the GAR stands for.
So GAR,
General, is he General?
the Grand Army of the Republic.
Grand Army.
One of those casualties was Elias Seckler. Although he did not die, he was severely injured. And here, in this plot, and that of his family, lies with them the bullet pulled from his body. Let me know in the comments below if you know of stories and locations such as this one of the Seckler family and a Civil War injury that is memorialized in a tomb. My research is limited only by the information that people don't share. Help me break that barrier, and let's share the history and culture of who we once were. That's poison ivy. I was going to lean and touch it, but it's poison ivy. Don't touch that. It's a huge tree. So, let's see if the camera picks up this sound. They're here. Hey there, buddy. How you doing? Oh, he's just a little wee one. He's a baby. He just woke up. Hey there, bud.